Wednesday morning. Some news in New York again with the Jets. Boomer said it yesterday. Now that they got the Garrett Wilson deal done, they're going to get the Sauce Gardner deal done. I didn't think they would do it. They did it. And you've got those two guys locked up now as Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn and his new regime making some statements. And last night you had some interesting things happen in the All-Star game. I actually, just said that. Some interesting things happened to the All-Star game. Mildly interesting. I'm not going to pretend like it was some sort of groundbreaking deal, but mildly interesting. Obviously with the swing off at the end. And then you had the ABS system and the tapping, and it worked for Edwin Diaz. And we saw Pete Alonso hit a big 3-run homer. And there was some moments there. So I will give Major League Baseball credit. They definitely got some people excited about what happened last night. And, of course, I'm sure there's going to be a who knows where we go today on this very light Sports Wednesday. That's why you have to buckle up and come for the ride with Boomer and Gio, like always, all the way to 10 o'clock. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. And I do agree that the All-Star game was probably the best All-Star game in the last 20 years. The presentation was pretty good. And, people always ask, and they always say about All-Star games, no matter what league they're talking about, are these guys really playing hard? Those kids were playing hard. Those guys were playing hard last night. You know, when you got guys like Scooble and Skeens throwing 100 miles an hour, they're playing hard. They want to win. And, I know Rob Manfred's got all these little tricks to speed up the game and to end the game. We hated the game when it ended in a tie.
Oh, it was awful,
But then again, you don't want it to go into extra innings and have pitchers pitching extra, pitches if they don't have to. And so you end it this way. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit more exciting. And, the way that the players reacted to what Kyle Schwarber was doing last night was, they're all into it. And I thought, the fact that they could wear all their own uniforms, go back to that kind of history a little bit more. I don't know. I kind of liked it.
Yeah, I do like the fact for an All-Star game to have the swing off. Obviously, some of the takes we're going to get today, I'm sure are going to be like, well, why don't you try this in regular season games? And no, this is great for an exhibition. It was fun. The Home Run Derby is a part of All-Star Week. It's a similar thing. They bring out the net, and it was fine. But yeah, I mean, the players were into it, and that's one thing that we have criticized in the other leagues is that the NFL players don't care about whatever the hell they're doing now. The NBA players don't care. Yeah, I mean, so it's like I can't get on these guys for caring so much, and it was good to see the other jerseys. So there's a few things that that we have complained about with the All-Star game that they actually fixed. And I don't know what anybody could really complain about this morning.
Right, and MLB got their head out of their political ass and basically went back to Atlanta like they should have went back to or should have played years ago.
Yes, that's right.
So, it's, the whole thing was just it had a better feel to it. And look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, I can't wait for next year's All-Star game. But I will say that they did a good job. And plus, the Mets were featured prominently in this thing.
And unfortunately, Pete Alonso didn't get an opportunity in the swing off. It ended before his turn. I would have liked to see that. But yes, they were. I mean, you had Edwin Diaz, unfortunately, give up that little single to tie the game. That really wasn't his fault. You had him using the ABS system and working to end an inning. You had Pete Alonso's big homer. Francisco Lindor made a nice play at short. So, yeah, they were around. David Peterson got a couple of hard-hit balls against them. But, yeah, I mean, they were around, And Jazz Chisholm was really close to getting a big hit, but was robbed by Matt Olson there. So, yeah, the Yankees a little bit involved as well. Carlos Rodon strikes out Francisco Lindor. So, C-Mac, I'm sure, was rooting for that.
Yeah, I'm sure so, too. But now the real work starts. And this is where the general managers, team presidents, people like that have got to start making decisions as to who they're going to acquire, who they're going to give up. And both of these teams are right in the middle of all of this. There's so much being written about which teams are going to be selling, which teams are going to be buying. And there's going to be a lot of teams that, that are all right there that have to make that decision. Do they think they have enough to make it as a wild card team or even win their division? Or is it time now to sell? And only one division really is out of hand, and that, of course, is the American League Central, where Detroit is 11.5 games up. But everybody else, there's probably about 10 teams that I think this morning you wake up, you say, they have to trade some players. They got to move some guys, and now it's up to David Stearns and Brian Cashman to refortify their teams and fill the holes that they desperately need to fill to see if they can somehow keep up pace with the Dodgers and the Tigers. And because both of those teams are going to be adding. And the weirdest thing yesterday for me, watching this All-Star game, obviously, and I think all Met fans realize this, there's Javy Baez starting in center field, and then there's Pete Crow-Armstrong starting in center field.
Yeah, I mean,
and then for Yankee fans, you got Gleyber Torres starting at second base, with facial hair,
right? And the Pete Crow-Armstrong Javy Baez thing for sure is a tough one. It'd be a hell of a lot worse if the Mets were 15 games under 500 and struggling as a franchise. It's easier to digest with the fact that they went to the NLCS last year. They're a very good team again this year, but I found it interesting because, and maybe I'm reading too much into this, I absolutely am, but they're asking Pete Crow-Armstrong about the Cubs and respect that they're getting in the season that they're having, and he's like, yeah, it's nice to be mentioned, with the powerhouses in baseball, like,
and he didn't mention the Mets.
He goes, the Dodgers and the Yankees, and then he stopped, and I was like, oh, like I wanted him to say the Mets or the Phillies or whatever else, but I want him to say the Mets. And I mean, he is a big superstar. He's the SGA of MLB because he's PCA. He's on the red carpet with his girlfriend, who's an absolutely stunning woman. He's living a life right now. But but
this is the thing for guys like Cashman and Stearns. Right here, right now.
But this is a rare one.
I understand.
Usually you trade these guys and they turn into zeros.
But what's amazing is that they traded Pete Crow-Armstrong for Javy Baez, and that was such a mess for the Mets.
Yeah, just terrible. The thumbs down. It was the first year of Steve Cohen. Lindor was here. It felt like he was getting – there was just a lot of bad apples in that clubhouse, and I think that once you got Stroman out and Baez out and some of these guys, that's when Francisco Lindor really became the leader that he is. That was a bad time for them, but it was also different management. You didn't have David Stearns there. Steve Cohen was still trying to figure it out, but so those are the things that I'm interested in because we know these teams are all in. I'm not questioning if they're all in or not, but there is a level of all in that. Do they cross that line or not? One is the Yankees, who have been very conscious of that luxury tax penalty and not going over that. They've been very conscious of that, and that is a fact. And the other is, David Stearns valuing this farm system and building it back up, and they've talked so much publicly about having that farm system, developing these guys, having the best one in baseball, and who are you parting with to try to win a championship in this window? That would be the thing.
Look, one team went to the NL Championship and the other team went to the World Series.
Neither one of them won it, which they're trying to do.
But the point being is that we always talk about windows being open and talking about window throwers. This is where Brian Cashman and David Stearns have got to be window throwers because the windows are open, Biggs.
Yeah, I know.
And the Mets are getting a little bit healthier, which is good. So they're going to feel like they're going to be able to, step on the pedal here in the second half. The Yankees have some serious filling to do. They get to figure out third base, and they have got to figure out what they're doing with their bullpen and their starting pitching.
Yeah.
It's been so all over the place. So look, I'm just saying that if I'm sitting in one of those seats, I have to go for it. We have Juan Soto here for $765 million. You got the best player in baseball in Aaron Judge on the other team across town. You can't be sitting around and doing nothing.
Well, there's also who's available, and is there going to be a game changer?
A million guys available.
No, but that puts you over the top. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't not every year. For example, the rarity that there was with Pete Crow-Armstrong turning into the superstar that he is as a prospect that you dealt at the deadline. It's also as rare to make a trade like Yoenis Céspedes and you ride that guy to the World Series. So we talk about this so much, and very rarely, I guess the Braves, when they won the World Series, had a great trade deadline. It was like pieces and pieces here. But, a lot of these times, these guys that you bring in it really doesn't affect all that much.
But at the end of the day, it's really about depth. It's about refortifying or rebuilding a position that has given you nothing but problems. And third base has created problems for the Yankees at second base. And that's why they, when you and I were off, they DFA'd
DJ
LeMahieu. And I think the pressure started mounting from Yankee fans over the last 3 weeks, and I would tell you a lot of that was coming from this radio station. It was over and over and over again that the Yankees had to do something, and I think that they quelled some of the initial or I wouldn't say initial, but I would say they quelled some of the criticism by DFAing DJ LeMahieu.
Yeah, I mean, he was absolutely awful, and I think that probably the main reason he stuck around so long is him and Aaron Judge are very close, and if they weren't, he would have been gone earlier than that. But, yeah, I mean, that was a no-brainer at that point. And
But what that is, that's a signal. That's a signal to the rest of the team. And that's also a signal to the rest of baseball that we're not messing around anymore. I mean, that's a guy who's highly respected. They gave him a contract. He, was oft injured. And all of a sudden you DFA a guy like that and you kind of quell the fan base a little bit. But you're also saying to the rest of your team, hey, guys, look, man, we don't care who you are. We don't care what your history is. We don't care what you've done for us. We're in this to win it right now.
Yeah. I don't know if this happens to you, but as I've noticed as I've gotten older and more experiences, like we talk about things and then like the weirdest things pop into my head about like whatever topic we're talking about. And the 2000 trade deadline popped into my head.
Oh.
Now, let me see if these two guys in here, big Met fans, remember this deal. The Mets traded, I'll just put it for an infielder at the trade deadline in 2000 who hit a home run in his first at-bat and then
I saw someone wearing his jersey last week, and it made me mad when I walked into Camden Yards.
Mike Bordick.
And you remember what they gave up for Mike Bordick.
God.
Guy ended up having a very solid career. Was a decent rookie with the Mets, had a good career.
I don't have it.
Melvin Mora.
Oh, that's right. Melvin Mora. Yeah, and he was one of those guys that you really saw potential in. Yeah, and he ended up going to, Baltimore.
They panicked because of the Ray Ordonez injury.
Yep. And then he hits a home run. I remember he hits a home run to left field in his first at-bat. And I'm like, yeah, Mike Bordick. This is awesome. It's just so funny. It really is all these moves. And that's why I think when I was talking about, like, a lot of these moves don't really turn into much. Mike Bordick pops into my mind because not everyone is Yoenis Céspedes. But, yeah, I mean, these are critical times for general managers.
But you know that if the Yankees can get a legitimate hitting and fielding third baseman, that would be huge for them.
Yeah, I mean, Arenado's still the guy, right?
Or Suarez.
Yeah. I mean,
Eugenio Suarez.
Yeah. I mean, I really want to see because the Hal Steinbrenner unwillingness to go that extra mile with they put the brakes on. Like, it's like, boom,
yeah,
that's
but they
it.
just DFA'd DJ LeMahieu, and they're going to pay him. So,
but that didn't matter. That's not adding past
I
your
know,
thing.
But it's paying a guy for doing nothing.
But that's not what they've avoided doing in the past.
The Nets are the kings of that.
What they've avoided doing in the past is going past a threshold and paying more tax.
I understand.
So
that.
That's all.
This may be the year they may have to do it.
Yeah, pressure's on, man.
I'm telling you, it's funny listening to the station. You would not. I know the Yankee fan has the expectation of winning the World Series. I understand that. I know that. We all know that. We all are sick and tired of hearing that. I mean, that's been going on for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
When George Steinbrenner took over that team, it basically changed the way that people thought about that team because he brought back the history and the pride back to the stadium. And being the sole owner of the team and the spokesperson of the team as opposed to having some corporation own the team and run it into the ground, he brought back the pride. So now that pride is grown into these expectations that, you realize it's after a 162 game season and then a couple of playoff series, you get very few at bats when you really think about it. When you're a baseball player like Aaron Judge and how everybody judges his playoff performance, I would just say that you have to go all in to try right now to get back to where you were last year. Anything other than that, it's going to. People are going to be screaming about Aaron Boone. They're going to be screaming about Brian Cashman. It's ad nauseum.
Yeah, I mean, right now, do you feel like either one of those teams, if the Mets and the Yankees ran into the Dodgers, they would beat them in the playoffs?
I don't feel like that.
I don't know is the answer for me.
Yeah, I mean, you also have the Tigers.
Well, yeah, but the Tigers are doing an amazing job in this regular season. And
you also have the Astros, too, by the way.
Right, but the Dodgers are the Dodgers, and the Yankees have to worry about those teams. The Mets have to worry about them in the American League. They're the defending champs, and they're the standard right now.
Right, I just think, though, for the Yankees, you got to figure out how to get better than the Astros. you have to figure out how to get or at least catch up to the Tigers.
Yeah. I mean, how about winning your own division, getting back in first place?
Well, that's
one
also,
step at a time.
Toronto as well. I mean,
one step at a time.
Look, man, I keep